Good evening everyone, and welcome to Gundam News. As always, a new month means a new Gunpla schedule, but I'm gonna need you to pay close attention on this one because it might be over before you realize. On the 30th, we're getting the real grade Epyon for 4,620 yen, 31 US, and that's it. Sure, the thing comes with a good amount of gimmicks that is not seen in other Epyon kits, so you could definitely say that this month is quality over quantity, but unlike my wallet, I'm not exactly impressed by the lack of kits. Well, standard kits. So yeah, now is definitely a good time to work on reducing that backlog. Or for you to go check out Hobbling Japan's new fall sale. It's got over 13,000 items and up to 90% off, which you can access through the link down below. And by using that link, you will also be supporting the channel by buying stuff from there. As for the Gunpla news then, things are even worse because the closest thing we got was the announcement of the G-Frame Full Armor Zeta Gundam Biosensor activation version, which is like halfway between an action figure and a model kit. It's also P Bandai because, I mean, what you expect. For 4,950 yen, 34 US, we are getting the Zeta Gundam with a really cool red coloring that also extends to all of its accessories, being a pair of open hands, a shield, beam rifle, the Hyper Mega Launcher, which isn't always included with Zeta Gundams, two beam sabers handles that come with two straight beam saber blades, two curved beam saber blades, and a giant beam saber blade that is powered up by the biosensor. And apparently this is also the first time that like the super powered up beam saber is made into any kind of figure or model kit. And to make sure that it doesn't fall down while posing the thing, we don't just get an action base for the Zeta Gundam, which also comes with the AoZ emblem on it, but we also get an extra support arm for that giant beam saber. You can either attach that thing to the main base or to its own small base. And of course, we're also getting a piece of soda flavored chewing gum to sweeten the deal. And then after last week's onslaught of new figure announcements, we're getting even more figures. Maybe that's where all the Gunpla funds are going nowadays. But the most adorable of the bunch was definitely this jumbo soft vinyl super deformed RX-77-2 Guncannon. And as the name indicates, it is quite the big figure for a super deformed figure at 22 centimeters, which is not quite 9 inches. It also has some limited movement in the arms, head, and the cannons, but don't expect too much. The cannons can be replaced by the spray missile launchers, the beam rifle is removable, and the price definitely blew me away. 16,500 yen or 112 US. But if it is worth it to you, it is a regular release, so I will have that linked down below. And the RX-78-2 from the same series is also getting a restock, so you can pair the two up. And again, that thing is also a regular release and also goes for 16,500 yen, 112 US, and will also be linked down below. What the two also have in common is if you buy them through P Bandai, you will also get an extra nameplate thrown in there. What'll be more friendly on your wallet then are the new prize figures that were announced. These are of course meant to be won at Japanese arcades, but more often than not they're also sold at Japanese retailers for a pretty damn fair price. First up, a series that I'm personally not a huge fan of, but I can at least see the appeal in them. Q Posket. In February, we're getting Suletta in her holder uniform, and in March, we're getting Miorine in her standard uniform. But I gotta say, even though I'm not a huge fan of their faces, I do like how Suletta's face is now really giving off Tanuki energy. From Gundam Seed Freedom then, we're getting 6 Tomonui plushies consisting of 2 sets of 3. There's Kira, Lacus, and Lunamaria, and Atherin, Kigali, and Shin, and they will be hitting arcades consecutively in January. But the most impressive prize figure then comes from the 08 Mess team. Now lately, prize figures have been very hit or miss, and this one is definitely a total hit. They nailed the face, the normal suit has an interesting shine to it, and she also has an anime-accurate pose. And then finally, they announced a lineup of mini soft vinyl Haros for March, with the available colors being green, pink, yellow, blue, and purple. But now we get to the really expensive things, because not only did the resale of the metal structure Kaitai Shouki RX-93 new Gundam start, you know, the 102,300 yen figure, which I forgot to write down the exact conversion rate for, but I mean, it's gonna be like around 700 to 800 US before like shipping, import costs, and conversion costs, so 1,000 plus. But pre-orders also began for the Metal Robot Spirits KA Signature Prototype Double Zeta Gundam over at P Bandai. And as you can tell, while there are still some parts of the regular Double Zeta Gundam being used, most parts are new. And what it also carries over from the Double Zeta Gundam is the transformation, which is more secure thanks to die-cast parts. A very welcome feature for transforming something as complex as the Double Zeta Gundam. I'm sure anyone who's ever built and transformed a Double Zeta Gundam or XS Gundam Master Grade can attest to this. I also love like the new shield that it's got. I don't remember ever seeing it, but supposedly there is like a drawing of it out there somewhere. And the thing is, it just fits so well with the whole design. I love the 3D Federation star it's got on it, and also when the Double Zeta Gundam transforms, it can be attached to the bottom, so it definitely adds something to the Double Zeta Gundam, well, the prototype Double Zeta Gundam, both in its mobile suit mode and in its mobile armor mode. It went up for pre-order last week Friday for 24,200 yen, 164 US, and will be flying your way in February. And then today, pre-orders at regular retailers went live for the Cosmo Fleet Special Argama RE and Nahel Argama RE, which are like slightly different versions of the figures that were released many years ago and have of course since become much harder to get. The differences being that they now have weathering applied to them, they come with waterslide decals so you can apply some extra details should you want to, and of course the price is higher, with both ships now going for 9,350 yen a piece, which is like 60-70 US. But what is still the same as the originals is that they also come with some in-scale mobile suits. The Zeta Gundam Hyakushiki and Rig Diaz for the Argama, and 3 Resales, 3 Jagans, and Unicorn Gundam for the Nahel Argama. So if you want any of these 2 bad boys, I'll of course have them linked down below. And with that amazing stuff out of the way, I want to talk about something less amazing. The Gundam Breaker Battlogue new build graphic novel Kickstarter project. There were some developments that I wanted to cover quickly, but when I went to check the page yesterday to write like everything down, I noticed another change that I wasn't expecting. And this change really did piss me off. Like, I am 99% certain that all of the preview pages of the comic were on the actual Kickstarter. But now, they have all been removed. Meaning that the only images still on the actual Kickstarter page are promotional art from the anime, the short anime, like the online-only one, and the cover art, neither of which are done by the artist who will be doing the actual comic, and therefore are not representative of the final product you'll be getting, well, that you're paying for in order to get. And I feel like the goal here is very simple. They saw that not a lot of people were super happy about them, so they simply removed them in the hope of luring in more supporters by giving like the people who don't do their research, of whom there are more out there than you might expect, to like believe that the entire comic is going to be in the style of the cover or like the anime promotional material they're using. And this just leaves a really bad taste in my mouth. It's like not illegal because they're not saying that that's what it's going to be, but it just feels scummy. Like, and the art is already out there anyway, so it just feels like an unpleasant thing on top of this already underwhelming Kickstarter. I would have been on board with it if they'd like pulled a Sonic and replaced the art style or like upgraded it and said like, oh, this is more finalized art, this is better. But no, they went this route. And on top of that, they posted more pages in that same not final art style in the updates tab. So again, it's not on the main page, it's like hidden away, so you do have to look for it, but it is technically there. And there's really nothing more to say about these pages than what I already said about the first pages we got. The proportions of the mobile suits are completely out of whack, even to the point that at first I didn't realize that this was supposed to be an Astray. The action scenes are stiff, a cardinal sin when the main point of your manga is going to be action scenes of mobile suits fighting each other, and the characters are absolutely not on illegal substances. The old guy is nice though. And in the comments then, I was also able to find out some more details about the story, like the stuff that I was initially going to cover. Some of the characters from Gundam Breaker Battlogue will be returning, and there most likely won't be any new mobile suit designs. They said that the story is still under development and that therefore they couldn't confirm whether or not there were going to be any new mobile suits included. But I mean, let's face it, if they did have a new design, I'm pretty sure that would have been like heavily marketed as a cool feature of this project. Like, not only are we making like the first American Gundam graphic novel that is going to be like commercially available, but we're also having this super cool new Gundam included. So yeah. But to end things on a positive note, the pins you can get with some of the tiers are designed by Victoria Roboto, and they're actually really cute. Like, I've seen some comments about this project that Westerners, or like Americans in particular, should never ever touch an anime, and that it is always going to end bad by default. Which, admittedly, is something that has often been the case, and there are some very good examples of this out there, but it shouldn't have to be this way. Again, look at the pins, or look at the official promotional Gundam Wing manga that was made by Mark Simmons for the Gundam Universe line. The art is good, you can feel the passion, and it is 40 pages released for free. Link down below if you want to check it out, which I highly recommend you do. And then compare it to the 120 pages here that they're trying to sell you for at minimum $15 for the PDF. I mean, if they turned the Mark Simmons comic into a physical, like an actual physical comic, that's something I would pay $15 for, especially if they extended that to 120 pages, or maybe if they like eventually just completely did Gundam Wing in that style. That's something, that's a Kickstarter I would back 100%, even if I had to pay extra to get it shipped to Belgium. But yeah, we've got this instead. And here is Editor Kakarot with a quick update. as I was rendering the video, I saw that the project got cancelled. They felt like they weren't going to reach the goal, which probably was going to be the case, but they did say that they do plan to revisit the project in the future.
I'll be back.
So, rip in pepperonis, and let's see where they go from here. Like I said, there is potential for an American Gundam comic / graphic novel, but this just wasn't it. Meanwhile, on the gaming front then, in Gundam Battle Operation 2 for PlayStation, the ghoul from Blazing Shadow has joined the fun. Again, one of those machines that I was never expecting to see in a Gundam game, but a very nice addition nonetheless. And in other news, we got some new Advance of Zeta designs featuring the Aqua Humbrabi 2 combined with a variety of machines like the Agzaku, the Jim 2, the Hazel Ozla, the Primrose 2, and the Barzam. The Gundam Girl of the week then is the Braw Bro Girl, who's a development of the Zaku 2 girl, and Iron Blooded Orphans got a new Gundam, the very unique looking Murmur Gundam. It's got some very curvy and elegant looking armor, its face reminds me of a Pokemon, and for weaponry it comes with 6 cutter knives that are somehow hooked up to its rear. And the cutter knives aren't even a joke. They are literally giant cutter knives, even with an extending blade. It's just that they're called surgical feathers, and they're also wire-guided remote weaponry controlled by the Alaya Vignana system. Its other weapon then is the surgical knife, which is quite a bit bigger than you might be expecting because it's like the 2 blades sticking out from the back of the mobile suit. They can either be used together or separately. The pilot of this machine is Makie Farid, and something tells me she was a doctor. And it was also announced that the Drama CD card collection will be added to the first Blu-ray of Witch from Mercury's 2nd season. As for the things we could get this week then, starting last week Friday, the 2nd set of Gundam poster acrylic stands became available in Gachapon machines across Japan. So for 300 yen a spin, around 2 US, you'll be able to get an acrylic stand with posters from Victory Gundam, Gundam X, Gundam Seed Destiny, the 2nd Zeta Gundam compilation movie, the 1st Hathaway's Flash movie, Gundam NT, Gundam Thunderbolt December Sky, and Kukuru's the Wands Island. And, I really love how low-res these pictures look. It's cheap, but also somehow looks nostalgic, like those low-res images you would find on the early internet. On Monday then, you could pick up the 23rd volume of Gundam Converge, featuring the Ariel Rebuild, S Gundam Zeta Plus Test Color version, also known as the Omro Color version, the Nero, the Jagan, Lugan and Magella Attack Set, and the Standard Ariel. They go for 693 yen each, 5 US, and can also be bought in a 10-pack. And finally on Wednesday, Higuchi Kaide's 4th single was released, which contains the opening theme for mass production type Rico. This week's reading material then, just like the Gunpla news, was very simple. There wasn't any. So we are immediately moving on to this week's Gundam Apparel news, of which fortunately there is quite a bit more. And if you need some help buying it, the links are down below, as well as a guide on how to actually get them from Japan to your door. And as per usual, Strict G kicked things off on Friday, this time with a collaboration with Chari & Co. to create bike-inspired Gundam-themed clothing. But unfortunately, there's no actual Gundam cycling wear included in it. For 7,150 yen, which is around 50 US, you can get a white or black Amuro t-shirt that combines the frame on Amuro working on mechanics with a bike. So now kind of making it look like Amuro is performing some maintenance on his bike. For the same price then, you can get a navy or black t-shirt featuring the Gundam flying out of a gear. For 8,030 yen, 60 US, there is a white or black long sleeve t-shirt with the ARC-72's head and some reflective stripes on the sleeves. For 15,950 yen, 108 US, there is a gray or black hoodie, again with the RX-72 flying out of a gear. And then we get some simpler designs on a jacket for 24,200 yen, 164 US, a cap for 4,950 yen, 34 US, socks for 2,200 yen, 15 US, and a shoulder bag for 13,200 yen, 89 US. And on the same day, they also released a bunch of raincoats for 14,850 yen each, 101 US. The available designs are Unicorn Gundam White, Banshee Gundam Navy, Sinanju Red, Kira Yamato Blue, and Athran Zala Burgundy. But I gotta say, you could also interpret the Kira and Athran designs as just being generic Omni and Zaft Red designs respectively too. And also on that day, it was a very busy day, Bunko started accepting pre-orders for a fixed release collection and a continuation of their very metal looking SD Gundam t-shirts. In the fixed release collection, there is a t-shirt for 4,180 yen, 28 US, and a bath towel for 4,400 yen, 30 US. And the SD Gundam t-shirts then proved to be so popular that they are getting a second round of pre-orders, and we're getting a new one as well. The new one, designed by, again, Studio 696, features the Satan Gundam Black Dragon, Neo Black Dragon, and Dragon Baby, and again goes for 3,850 yen, 26 US. And also being re-released are the acrylic keychains that go for 880 yen, 6 US. And just like the t-shirts, the style of these keychains is like impeccable. These things are so good looking. Again, designed by Studio 696. And all of these Bunko items so far are slated for an October release. Continuing with the acrylic thingies then, on Monday, pre-orders went live for the Witch from Mercury Chikara collection, which gets its name from the very distinct, pinchable cheeks that the characters have. For 880 yen each, 6 US, you can get Suletta, Miorine, Guel, Elan, Shadiq, Nika, Chuchu, and Lauda. And you can choose to either use them as a keychain, or you can put them on a tiny base to have them stand up. And these adorable figures will be coming your way in November. Or one day later, you could pick up new acrylic stands from the Zombie family, Quattro, Bajina, and Haman Khan, as well as a restock of Amuro and the 1 Year War version of Char. All characters are available in 2 sizes and go for 2,750 yen, 20 US for the big one, or 1,320 yen, 9 US for the standard ones. Next up on Wednesday then, we got the latest addition to the Black Series, with 6 new t-shirts for 3,850 yen a pop, 26 US. And the available designs are Earth Federation, Xeon, Char, Amuro, Vist Foundation, and Mafti. And then last, but definitely not least, we got the pre-orders for the Tifa Adil collection from Gundam X, which of course features a lot of moons, but somehow not an image of the character herself. You can get the new designs on an acrylic stand for 1,980 yen, which was around 15 US, a tote bag for 2,750 yen, 19 US, a bath towel for 4,400 yen, 30 US, a mug for 2,530 yen, 17 US, 2 types of t-shirt for 4,400 yen each, 30 US, and a face towel for 2,200 yen, 15 US. And now let's quickly wrap things up with the polls. A few weeks ago, Gundam.info wanted to know what the Epyon's most impressive scene was, and the results are extremely decisive. 41.8% went for the final battle with the Wing Zero, 33.4% for cutting Barge or Bulge in half, 19.1% for its first duel with the Wing Gundam, back when it was still piloted by Hero, and only 5.7% for the destruction of Luxembourg. So yeah, the margins between the options were pretty big. Which is not the case at all with the ongoing poll, or at least not on the main website. So the 18th of September is apparently Respect for the Aged Day in Japan, which I can imagine is a very big deal there because that's almost the entire country at this point. So for the occasion, Gundam.info wants to know which elderly Gundam character we want to live the longest. Siam Vist, Luo Wu-ming, Dr. J, or Lagu. Luo is dead last on both the main website and Twitter, but then we have a bit of a discrepancy for the top three. On Gundam.info, all three of them are basically equal, with Lagu being in the lead, Siam Vist in second, and Dr. J third. But on Twitter, Lagu is third, Dr. J second, and Siam Vist on top, with some relatively big margins here, so we're gonna have to see how this plays out, and if you want to make your voice heard, the links are of course down below. Personally, out of the 4 characters available, I voted for Dr. J, but honestly, the first character that came to mind was of course General Revel. Just imagine how the Universal Century would have played out if he had lived longer. But that has been all for this week's Gundam news. Don't forget to check out Hobbling Japan's latest sale. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great evening, and I'll see you all next week with more Gundam news.